today. I'm not sure if I'm happy or sad. But no Victoria. So it must mean there is no harvest next week.
She's in Los Angeles right now.
What?
She's in Los Angeles right now.
Oh, great. Well, at the same time zone, she's still not at the meeting to announce the next harvest. So
That's true.
Let's go to the status, my topics, maybe talk about 2.0 if there are any issues. Last week, we just talked about 2.0. Some triage issue, I don't remember exactly, and I gave a bad method. What else? So status. I don't expect there to be anything for actual one last week. Then maybe I should remove all these filters. Nothing. On should call. I have filters also. And filters for what I did. And that's it. What I didn't make. Okay, that's good. So when was it? 10. Quite some things actually. Let's see, then this one. So maybe I should just look name. Good. Then 11. Fix the return value in Composite.TryGetIndex. Try get return true, return false. Oh, yeah, good job. This is quite worrying, but I usually don't use that much. Try get member implementation. Try get member. Try get member. Try get member. Yeah, this is weird because I would assume that this is called quite a lot. So that's weird. Interesting. Enhance the two-factor authentication settings. This one. Did you change anything there, Michael? Should we talk about this?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, you can talk about it, but we need to fix it.
Yeah. So we added options there. This is just more text to event. We remembered for. And this is actually here. You have the same kind of. Yeah. This is so here. This is funny. Sorry. Because this issue, this what I'm seeing here, is the same issue I will discuss here. Like totally different things, but this is actually the same problem here. You are splitting some translations into two different strings and injecting something somewhere, and you should not split things, and you should not inject something somewhere. Because in another language, it won't map at all, because you decide that when selected blah, blah, blah should be displayed before this one, which should be displayed before the value. So you are taking two decisions here. You are ordering part one part 2, and part 3. And maybe in French, we need to display that first, and then that second, and then that third. And I won't be able to do that. So that's why when we have localization strings, it needs to be one block with arguments, such that the localized value can decide what goes where and where to inject the thing here. So we'll see that there. So just focusing now back on the PR here. So design, the new settings. Okay, these are new settings. New settings. HTML, HTML, new settings. So these things here, they were added in the previous year, and you're adding them in the UI.
No, they already exist, but I think if I recall correctly, I think they're just moved up. So the ordering is different, I think.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, because that script, it just makes sense for that long script to be at the very bottom. So all the properties should be on the top.
Okay, I was confused. Makes sense now. So just moving up. Okay, and the two-factor authentication setting. Okay, so let's go back to this one. Can you show me where you use the duration now? In which file?
There, right there in line 18.
This one. Okay.
Where we just create a shape called duration.
So this is creating a new shape duration with the time span, expire time span. So your goal here is to display the, and this is a translated string also. So duration here. So Mike pinged me and said, I want to be able to render a time span, right? Like it took 1 day and 2 hours, or it took 5 minutes, the time span. And I succeed to create shapes because in this class, we already have that. But for a date, a point in time, well, not really. For pointing to a point in time, but in the past or in the future, using some kind of some time ago or in some time. So here it's called time span, but it takes 2 date time, the current date time and the origin. So that could actually be used the same way. Yeah, but you see, it's ago, like a year ago or 2 months ago, or in the future, in 1 month. So this is relative time, okay, like 1 year ago or in 1 year. This is relative time. So it's kind of the duration, but in the future or in the past. And what it's doing, so it's a shape, time span, shape. This was actually, if you want to harvest the next part I wanted to show after the session. We didn't get that. So 2 date times, and then we calculate how long it takes, and then based on the duration, we say, let's return these translations with the singular and the plural values based on the years. So if it's more than a year, we use year. 1 year ago, 10 years ago. If it's not bigger than a year, then is it in month? Yes, okay, so it's an in month, so 1 month or n month. And when we display that, we don't care about number of days or number of weeks or whatever. We say it took 2 months, not 2 months and 3 days and 2 hours. Okay, 2 months, or a month ago and 2 months ago, or in 1 month, in 2 months. Then we go to weeks. hours, minutes, seconds. And if it's less than a second, then we say a moment ago or in a moment. Okay. And these are using the HTML localizer. So it's returning HTML content because we want to use that in HTML. Okay. So what I suggested, Mike, was to create another one that takes a time span, but because we don't care if it's in the past or in the future, we just care about the duration, like 1 day, 2 hours, and 3 minutes. This is the how long it will take, like a cache duration, or in this case, a cookie authentication option duration, same thing. So beautiful, it's called duration, and it takes a time span. And here, so that works, but the issue will, that works in English at least. And here it's doing the same thing. If it's more than 1 day, then we need to display days. So we say it took 1 day or 2 days. And then, but it doesn't return here. You see, it's a content builder, and it's appending this HTML. And then if there are also hours in this time span, well, so these are just the parts, okay? This is not the total, this is total days, and then these are the hours part, the minutes part, and the seconds part. It's not like this time span was converted to seconds. No, this is the seconds part. So if we have like 1 day and 2 seconds in the time span, then it would go there and say, add a white space, and then add how many seconds. So it could say 2 days, space, 10 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, I think maybe what we should just do, just a thought, if the total seconds is less than an hour, so we can just say in 3,500 seconds. But if it's, less than 24 hours, then maybe we can just put, count of hours and just say in 25 hours or 105 hours or something.
I have a different suggestion, but first I want to explain the problem to everyone so we understand the shared knowledge, because that works. In English, that will work. Okay, it will show 2 days, 1 hour. Okay, this is a plural, so this is important to have plural, and this is thing. So the issue you try to fix is that we can't say a string like this, 0 day, 1 hour, so the plural form, because when we have the localizer like this, we can pass multiple values like days, hours, but how do we do if we want to use the plural form? I will just copy that. So this is fine if we have 2 arguments, but what if we want to do the plural? When we call plural, we have to pass the count, like days, or let's call it count, and then the singular and the plural. Okay, so 2 strings. So the singular will be days, but here we have an issue because there is not a single count to define days and hours. They might be singular and hours might be plural. They might be plural and hours singular. And then how many strings do we have to pass? If we have 2 arguments, then it's 4. Singular, plural, singular, singular, plural, singular, plural, plural. No, it doesn't work. We can't do that because here we have days, hours, minutes, seconds. We have 4 of them. So 4 times 4 or 4 times 3 times 2 times, I mean, we can't provide that, okay? And ideally, that's what we want to do. Like we want to be able to say 1 day, 2 hours, done, or 1 day, 2 hours, 3 minutes. So this is too complex. And that's why you made that thing. You just split everything into different strings. And that works in English, because I don't know if maybe in German, maybe we put the hours before the days. So the append on the right might not work. Okay, and I was giving another example which might be more obvious, which is the Arabic, which is right to left. So maybe they also start by day, but days will appear on the right, whatever it is written in Arabic. Okay, because if they write day, it would be day, hour, minute, right to left. So that's why we can't just append in HTML some localized text. This will never work. We can't append or concatenate stuff if it's a set of localizations. So this will not work. It will just work in English, and it will work, let's say, assuming 90% of the languages which are left to right, it will work totally fine to concatenate. Then the issue is, yeah, that will be fine. Like in French, it will work, definitely. Spanish, Italian, all the Latin languages, it will work. But it won't work, I'm sure, in some other languages. So we can't do that. So the suggestion you made is valid, and so example, you said if we have 2 days, 1 hour, we will display like something like 4001 hours. I don't know how many hours in a day. 24 times 60. Something times 2.
1440.
How many?
1440.
Per day. So 2,881 hours. Okay. So does it talk to you? Like I have no idea how many days it is. So you see, it's hard to understand what it means and why hours and what. So I think that's what you suggested, Mike. Huh? And in this case, why not instead just say in 2 days? Oh, not in, sorry, because it's not in, it's 2 days. And just ignore the small part. Just take the biggest part.
Because it could be misleading.
Example.
You know, so I mean, if you have, you know, if you have two days and 12 hours, something like that, then, you know, if you just show 2 days, then you're missing the 12 hours. But I think what we can do is try to get it, you know, like if it's more than 24 hours, then we're going to say X days and Y hours, and that's it. And so at least we'll be able to provide, like one phrase, you know.
Yeah, but look at that. So first, providing the distinct hours for 2 days and 1 hour doesn't work, because what if I put 2 days, 1 hour, and 1 second? Then do you use seconds? And then you say like, I don't know, 10,000 seconds, like completely unusable, right? So at what point do we stop? And does it make sense? Now your suggestion is to say, if we say that, we could have, so what did we say? 2 days, 1 hour, and ignore second?
Something like that.
Okay. So
if
then,
it's more than 24 hours.
Okay, now, yeah, it's because we go into this. Now, let's say it's not 1 hour, but 3 hours. How do you write it in English?
All right, we need 3 hours, so we need to pluralize it. Yeah.
And what do we use to pluralize? But now it's 1 day and 3 hours. How do you write that? 1 day, again, same issue. We have only one counter to determine a plural, but here we need 2 different variables. So we need, again, 4 strings, because we have 4 combinations possible. 4 strings, be careful, 4 strings in English. In Russian, for that, you need 10 strings, or 8 or something like that, because a plural form in Russian is like 4 different strings. Okay, so if there are 2 variables, it will be like then 8 strings. And so that's why we can't do that, I think, also, because we have the same problem that you try to fix here. Just with 2, but we still have the problem, the multiplication of string. That's why I think this is the one of the option. Maybe we need something like days and then to write the actual value somehow. or people could write the actual value if they want in their translation, because nothing prevents them from, if we pass the actual value to also as an argument, like the second argument, to just write it in their translation, as long as we pass the value in how they want, because we pass the time span actually. We could pass the time span also as a different argument, that would work, or they could use it in their string. So if they want to be more specific and add like blah, 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 blah seconds. So for instance, in your cookie example, it's like 48 hours. So that will work even if it's 48 hours and 5 seconds, we can say, or we could say in approximately 2 days or something like that. And oh, we could have that. We could have the exact form and the approximated form. So we could say, if we know it's exactly the same unit, we use the unit and we say exactly 2 days. And if it's the big unit plus some of the small units, we will say approximately, but use the biggest unit. That could work. It's just 2 strings all the time. So another example, we have 3 hours time span. Then it will be 3 hours. Okay, and we provide the string hour and hours. And then if it's 3 hours 1 second or 3 hours 3 minutes, whatever, then we can say, again, we pick the biggest unit and we say approximately 3 hours. Because most of the time we have a fixed number, and if it's a big unit and a small unit, you just care about the big unit. A counter example I have would be 1 hour 30 minutes. Like you have an appointment in 1 hour 30 minutes. Then in this case, it will just write in approximately 1 hour. But yeah. At least we don't have the issue with that thing. The only other way to fix it is then, there is a way to fix it, actually. Maybe we could provide alternates to this shape. If people want to customize how it's rendered for a specific language, we should provide alternates. That would be great, actually. Well, this can be done dynamically. So someone could just say, when duration is displayed, add the alternates with duration and the language code. So we could override the full thing for a language code. And the same way they can already override for all the languages. And that's why we have the shape. Yeah. So either the absolute thing, we just take the biggest unit and use that, or do the 2 things, use the biggest unit if it's fixed and use approximately if there is more than that. And because it's translated, if people don't like the word approximately, they can just provide a translation for this thing and just say around 2 days, even for the English translation, they could translate that to another thing. And that would work in all languages. So that would be a suggestion to do. And here you see the same issue. First string translated, second string translated, third string translated. If you want the value to become before that, before the 4, you can't, because this string is and has to be there. So this should be a single localized string, and this should be a value that is passed as an argument. So you can pass a translation as an argument of another string. or you can pass the translation and the value in case you don't want to use the translation directly, but the value somehow in, I don't know, not sure it makes sense, but
Yeah, I think, I mean, in this case, probably better just to provide the duration as a parameter, not as a shape as we're doing, but
I would still write it. I would still pass it as the translated HTML actually. So you write, you get the display inside a variable and you pass it there, so they know they can do it where they want. That would work.
okay.
Because it's already encoded, it's HTML content, it won't be re-encoded. So it will just concatenate correctly or be injected correctly wherever they want. So this is a single string with an argument that is the value of that. You don't call, yeah, you don't do at, but you just pass the value like this, and it can be injected anywhere. So that will work. And then here, cool. I think I like this kind of discussion. It's interesting to see how we can solve that. Do I need to write it down on an issue or? Oh, it's recorded.
Probably, yeah, probably. I mean, if you
I will put the
maybe
suggestion
just, yeah, either in the PR or maybe just open it back on a quick issue. We can just have it.
I fix. I will put fix. Fix duration shape. Fixable. RTL languages. And hopefully Hisham will do something if that makes sense. If you can explain the fact that no, this won't be an issue in RTL or this will be an issue in RTL. So we paste that. Suggestions. Suggestion. Right, 0. Fine. Things. And suggestion. Numbers one dash. I know how to write. What do I do wrong here? How do I write the right thing? Is that done?
Yeah, just put one dot. There you go.
Okay, it's just dash when you use
Yeah.
after. Okay. I need to find 5 8-time shapes. Wait. Going on. Improve the description names of the openID. Okay. I trust you. Fix all claims mapping in openID access.
So this was a bug where we never honored the roles. So if someone's trying to map roles, it doesn't work. And so I kind of simplified things, but if you see the previous code that was removed here, we only do the claims, and then we also do the subject, but we don't do roles. So now we added roles too.
I saw Kevin's comment suggesting the syntax. I'm fine with that now. I make peace with the syntax because it's simplifying, because it's not repeating the C type equals again.
Yeah, in this case, I'm okay with that syntax. But if it gets more than that,
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's-
nah,
yeah,
I can't read it. Like
Yeah,
when they
the-
start adding curly brackets,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Curly,
Sorry.
then greater than, and what?
Yeah, it just becomes harder than what it is. So I feel like it's complicating things. So I just try not to do that. But if it's like is not, or like in this case, you can easily understand it.
However, I don't understand the context. So Mike in the PR wrote it this way: if C type equals that, or C type equals that. Okay, that's what Mike wrote in the PR, and that's what Kevin suggested, because it's less code. We don't have to repeat C type. If we say C type is that, which makes the actual equals, or it's that. That's what it means. So this can be, so this is not ambiguous. This could be ambiguous, but this is fine in that case. We get that the or has to be for C type. It can't be for that. So okay, so that's great. This is shorter, so we don't have to repeat C type. So you could say or that or food. Okay, you could do that now. It's like is in. That's fine. OpenID settings, names, and descriptions. Looks like you prepared for a demo.
Something like that.
Yeah, when I saw these commits. Okay.
Because I was
Good,
going through the UI and
Yeah.
I'm just trying to make sure it's presentable. And I'm looking,
Honestly,
I'm like, does it
when-
make sense?
when I do a session on any subject, you have to dig inside to explain, to think about how you will explain things, and you say, oh, doesn't make sense. So it's not clear enough. I need to improve that. And then you fix stuff. I did exactly the same thing with my sessions. I did not commit stuff, but I'm like, why? Why is it this way? It should be simpler this way. Or I found something. I'm like, no, not. Yeah, that's how you make progress. Whenever you do a demo and people ask questions and you understand it's not clear, you're like, yeah, we need to improve that. Or it doesn't work because you try it and oh, doesn't work.
So that roles, that's how I identified that roles because of that. You know, it was an issue. And then I, you know, was trying to explain the UI and it just doesn't make sense. So I started, you know, I think I put 5-6 PRs just around my demo. So I was like, whatever, but I mean, it takes up a lot of time, but I mean, the UI is better now.
That's good. Friends, node checking ScriptsMiddleware. Not required. Okay. Remove unnecessary checking DefaultShapeFactory. True, because this was checked before. It's in cutoffs. It's in this page. It's in this page. It's in this page. Fixing this page looks like there was a PR that didn't go through because we have 4 commits. Fix the ref content deployment. The third PR in a row where I see an is instead of equal. So people are getting used to it now. I'm not. I like my equal. Implement IDisposable in RedisCacheWrapper. So I saw this PR go through. And I'm like, I want to understand why. So the seed, okay, no problem. Fine.
Actually, I think I highly doubt that he actually tested this change. And I bet if he does this, we will have a problem because this is the wrapper.
Well, I got it reverted.
Oh, you okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
okay,
when I saw that, I wonder, like, what? Why?
Yeah, it's like, a wrapper, so it should be disposed by the underlying service.
I didn't went this way. I was wondering, what are we trying to fix? Because the PR was just that, no explanation, nothing. I'm like, so why are we fixing? What could be the bug then? Okay, we are not disposing the thing, but I'm like, so first my first question was, if you create a PR like this, at least explain, because it's disposable, explain what is the lifetime of this object to know where it's currently disposed or released or finalized by the GC currently, to understand what's the issue. And it did not. So I looked at how it is registered. It was registered as a singleton. And I'm like, if it's registered as a singleton, it will die with the app. So there is no reason to implement disposable, because when the app dies, it will collect that thing and everything will be disposed, and we don't need anything else. Like, even if it's not disposed, the memory will be released. There is no reason to dispose if it's a singleton. Then I went further. I'm like, what's the point of that? Because every single method is just calling the wrap thing. And I look at the history, and the PR that introduced that from Jean-Thierry was, don't dispose the RedisCacheWrapper. Well, don't dispose the IDisposable cache because it can be used by multiple tenants with the same connection, the multiplex connection multiplexer. And this is also written in the doc here. Wrapper preventing the Redis cache to dispose the shared iConnection multiplexer. So the goal of this class, to be registered this way, is that instead of registering the Redis cache directly, okay, we create a custom Redis cache that we never dispose across tenants, and it's a singleton. So every tenant will have its own RedisCacheWrapper instance, but none of them will dispose the Redis cache, which has a shared connection multiplexer across tenant, which is the connection to Redis, because we are sharing the same Redis connection if it has the same connection string across all the tenants. So we don't have n connection to release. We can use the same one. And then this one then won't dispose the connection if we restart the tenant. Because if it's a shared connection and we restart the tenant, this will dispose the connection and dispose the connection for all the tenants and will break all the other tenants. That's the goal of this class, to not dispose the cache dispose. So I wrote a comment saying you can keep that, but don't dispose that because that's the goal of the thing. So I assume it was reflected after.
You know, I mean, with, you know, this is actually, this is a problem that we should avoid. Like, if you have no way of testing this,
yeah,
don't bother submitting a PR like this, because it's hard for us to test it if you don't have a service, you know. So this is a big problem because, like, you know, you think you're improving things just without testing it, but then when you test it, then you might get unexpected results, and that's a problem. Trying to take code like this is, I don't know. So
I made a mistake here because I asked Hisham to add a comment. I had not seen the comment was there before. So after I updated this comment because this comment is sufficient. So, but okay, this is done by not disposing. I made it obvious, don't dispose that. And only after that I realized, well, instead of adding a comment, we should have a test that shows that we create that and something that shows that we don't dispose the thing. And the test will fail. So if anyone tries to dispose that, we say, no, the test is it should not dispose the thing. And maybe it would have failed. So yeah, we should have had a test instead, actually. Instead of maybe both, the comment and the test. Hisham will watch the meeting and he will add the test, I'm sure. I'm not sure it's testable. I hope so. I don't want it to, I don't want to over-engineer just to be able to add a test there. But this thing should not, should not be disposable. Maybe the test is just ensure that Redis doesn't implement IDisposable. RedisCacheWrapper doesn't implement IDisposable or fail the test. That should be the test maybe. And then nobody will ever. I don't know. Maybe. But okay, it's fixed. It's not broken. You took into account what we said last time. Okay. And update the documentation to match the one in .NET because it makes sense. Okay, beautiful. So we know now what will be the behavior, and the behavior makes sense because it's based on the distributed cache. Refactoring, sync. Okay. That I don't like. I think double quote.
Why not?
It's totally fine. It's 2 chars. This is 10 chars, if not more. And this is literally exactly the same thing. When you compile the thing, everything will be converted to that. So it's not. It doesn't add any information. It's technically exactly the same thing. It's not like the is and equal equal. Okay, there is a difference between is and equal equal. It doesn't matter most of the time, but there is a difference. Here,
I'm wondering what was the purpose of adding string.empty in the library.
At some point, it was not the same thing. Now, since .NET maybe 3, 4, .NET Core, it's exactly the same thing. But it's possible that at some point the compiler will just create a new string empty. But now it is replaced by the compiler by always the same static instance of the string. So this is the same thing. So there is no reason, I think, to change that. I prefer that, and I would always write that. I'm fine if you write it. Changing it, I don't understand, because I could create a PR after you and say, let's change it to that. Because we didn't set in stone which one we want. And I think it's okay to not define everything and to be a dictator for everything, like, oh, you can't use this char because I prefer this one. Yeah, same thing, so fine. Just to restate the fact that it's exactly the same thing. It's a kind of preference. Yeah. I can read that. I understand what double quote means, an empty string. And I also understand what it means, an empty string. How does it work? What's happening here? This is a string inside the controller. Okay, I see. What is that? Oh, this is the value that you have to pass to. Okay.
Yeah, and remember we changed the
Mhm.
and in the button to ampersand. If you go to the view, that's really the important part right there. But also, instead of repeating the string all over the place, I just define a constant. So.
Azure Communication SMS Provider. I missed this this PR. Actually, it's a big feature, no? It's a feature, so it's a comprehensive feature. It's something. Azure Communication SMS. You mentioned that during your session?
No, but someone actually in the conference asked about it, and I seen that there was an old PR. So what I did is I did a multiple reviews on it, and then I asked that person to provide us a key so we can actually test the service. And he sent it to Hisham, and then Hisham was able to actually test it, and it works. And so we merged it.
I feel like I saw a session, or maybe online, that they were using SendGrid and then they switched to that. No, this is not SendGrid. This is nothing to do with SendGrid. This is text. Okay.
Yeah, so this is just a new provider. So currently, or before this PR, we had for development, we had a log provider, and then we also had a Twilio provider. And then with this, we're just adding another provider that you could use, but this provider is part of a new feature. So now you'll have to enable this feature if you want to have this be this provider. And the reason why we did that is because this plugin utilizes an SDK, so it's a new library. So because a new library, we shoved it into a new module even. So new module, and then we. So yeah, it's a pretty good PR though. You know, it adds another integration with Azure. Microsoft will love this.
Okay, cool, good job. AddShapeTableProvider. I could talk about it for years, right? So I saw that. I didn't know it was Hisham. I thought it was you, Mike. Because I had mentioned that like a day before at the Harvest conference.
Yeah, and I mentioned it to him. I told him you're not a big fan of this.
And that's why I didn't say anything, because I'm like, it's you, so you know, and you still did it.
Yeah, I know it was Hisham, but I'm like, well, we did it before, so I'm like,
yeah. And you see what I mean? Then last week, because if you start doing it, then we'll do it for everything, and this is what I want to avoid. Here, the only reason I didn't say anything is because, yeah, it's scoped. It could be singleton, it could be transient, it could be anything. We just decided to use scope for the previous one. So, and when I say it could be anything, because we just use it once on startup, done. So scope is fine. Okay, singleton would be bad. Transient will work also. So
if we only use it once, maybe we should change it to transient. Maybe when you refactor shapes.
Honestly, it will be the same thing, because we use it once, and after the request, it's gone. And transient will behave exactly the same way. After the request, it will be gone. So scoped is is fine.
Slightly
is
more
fine.
expensive because
No,
it just
why?
holds it a little bit longer.
Yeah, but a little bit longer for one request. Who cares?
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
And longer, I don't even agree, because it longer means at the end of the request for both of them. It's just that if we request it again from another service, Scoped will reuse the instance, Transients will create a new one. That's the only difference.
Yeah, that's true, because they're only disposed at the end of the request anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm only fine with that because there is some value in the method here, which is the scope. So we don't put singleton by mistake, even though it's not a big deal. It's just, yeah. But you see,
One question Hisham asked, and I told him I have no answer. Why is it called ShapeTableProvider? Where that term came from? Maybe you just record it so he can hear you.
Well, that was the part of my slides after also. And I think I mentioned it during the session, which is the shape table provider is feeding information to the shape table. Literally, there is a class we have in Portrait called the shape table. The shape table is what represents a theme. A theme is actually a shape table. It's a shape table, a list of shapes with all the logic that shapes have, what I meant by shape bindings and shape descriptors. This is what a shape table is made of. A theme is a shape table, which a theme, the virtual concept of a theme, is technically an instance of a shape table class, which contains shape descriptors, which describes all the shapes that a theme is made of. And a shape table provider just enhances all these shape descriptors in a shape table. That's why. And that's why it's associated to a feature, because when you have a theme, it has to get all the shapes from the enabled features. So the shape provider is associated to a feature because it should not be executed if it's not part of the current tenant and the theme it's using. Yeah, shape table. So look for the class shape table and you will see it's a list of shape descriptors which have shape bindings. This was the next part of my session. There was other part after that, but this is the part I was not able to continue on at enough time. And this is also related to the shape attribute we saw before with the datetime shapes, which will feed the shape table with more shapes coming from methods. So the shape binding will be a method invocation. If you have a template, the shape binding is a view invocation. And if it's coming from the database, like the templates module, the shape binding in a shape table would be invoking a template that will be loaded from database. I will finish this session. I will record it somehow. Either I do it on my own, or we schedule some time and I finish the session, record it, and put it somewhere else in another video that Gabor will upload. Sure. Okay, so fixing these AddShapeFactory extensions. I haven't seen this one. ShapeFactory. Oh, it's moving it to a different class. Okay. Just to unbreak it.
No, so with that one, I moved it to a different class, but then I added also 2 extensions. So like when you pass create a sync with a T model, I basically created one without, so you don't have to provide a shape type as a string. Well, if we already have a concrete type, we'll just assume the same name is what you're using, unless you provide one. So it's just another.
Okay. So this
another
one,
helper, yeah.
This one and the generic one also, or not? Oh, this is the internal one. This
No,
is the
this
one.
is existed.
This is the
yeah.
one with the proxy generator. Okay, this is existing, but we have
Yeah. In the PR, I highlighted the two. I don't know why I didn't document it, but guess we didn't need it. But yeah, if you look at the PR itself, you'll see the two methods that I added. This is based on your demo. When you were demo, I'm like, I've seen this before, but I just because you were demoing, I was like, it's a shame that we have to pass the string and the type. So
I don't know. I like it. Makes it obvious
Yeah.
what it's doing.
yeah.
That there is a difference between the config type and but yeah, okay. Okay. So this is a test you need to see if it was fixing it. Then
Yeah.
you fixed it because we fixed it. You fixed it, and I found the reason why it was slow. The reason it was slow is because we had something like this that was adding this package reference to all the packages. So what I saw is that Dependabot had to look into the assembly of every single package to find if this one was need to be updated. And now that it's in the central package management here, injected from the central package management, it's doing it check once, and it doesn't have to check every project. That's the big difference. So
Yeah, when they ran after this, they ran pretty fast. Created the PR, yeah.
So global package reference. So this is just setting a version, and we had a package reference in the project. And this is adding a package reference to all the projects. And not only it's doing that, but it's also setting private assets equals all, meaning it's not doing a reference in the final package. It's just using it for the runtime and compilation, the build and runtime. It's not referencing the assembly after that. So that's why we do it for code style and this one, because we don't need that when we deploy the global package reference. So it can be removed from this file, which was just adding it to every project also one by one. And I removed the removal of these things. So it's applied to everything. So yeah, this is fine to add it there also. So it's just simplifying. This is just a wrapper for content files. So yeah, it didn't make sense, but it doesn't hurt to simplify it. Just removing that, it doesn't hurt anymore. And that is why something fixed. Yeah, and then because we enable this everywhere on all the projects, then the test project now had also the code analysis and warned us about don't do that or don't do that. That's why it appeared, which is good. It's also cleaning the test project. But this is fixing the dependable hurt. And then this is fixing the file that we're getting updated at every build, asking us to update the version, whatever this thing. So what it's doing here, first, there were some warnings that the schema says it should be a Boolean. It works with a string, but it should be a Boolean, so I fixed them. Then I removed the .template.config files, because these .template.config are the files that are injected in the template package, but these files are generated by a custom MS build task that we have. And this is why it was always trying to update these files when we switch branches between 2.0 and 1.8. So these files have to be empty, have to be deleted. I updated this one to inject the moniker that will be generated in the target files. So instead of having hard-coded, we just put that, and this will be replaced. This is our custom MS build task that we look for this string and replace this string by the actual version that we release, and then generate the full file, not here, but in the equivalent template.config folder. And then when we pack it, it will take this final file with the correct version. So first step was remove the files from repository, And also say, ignore this folder. So whenever it's generated, don't add it to source control. Because we don't want to source control it. And it's documented here. Why? It should not appear again anymore in our source control. And then you say, well, we don't need to change this file now because they're automatically generating. Okay, and that was the last comment. And at the same time. Questions, comments? Okay then. Oh, Thursday, I might not be here. My wife is getting surgery and I don't know what time she'll be in the hospital. So maybe I'll be there, maybe I'll not. I will tell you Wednesday afternoon. I will put it on Discord. I can open Discord. I opened it earlier today. I wrote a comment. So I write it on Discord, okay?
Cool. Hopefully
Thank you.
everything goes good with your wife.
Yeah, it's fine. Small one, but it's one. She can walk again after. She can't walk because she's got knee issues. She will get a new knee. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. See you
Thank you.
on
See
Thursday
you.
or next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.